There's a ton of significant news for this week coming in World of Tanks console, and today's video is going to cover everything you need to know. It really is a massive week in terms of some things that have happened in this week and of course what's coming in the next week. Now, without further ado, let's first get on to the new tech tree line. There is also one big thing, and that is another Wargaming head has rolled, so we'll be looking at that in just a second as well. So for the tank enthusiasts, we have the new Romanian tech tree tanks, and so we'll be able to actually play these in-game next week. So I'm looking forward to seeing them come into the game. It will be the first Romanian tanks available for pretty much anyone to actually get hold of, and I believe that they will come off of the Czechoslovakian line, the TVPT 5051 that has recently been released. So yes, they are releasing tanks that lead off of the tanks that I was kind of a little bit salty that they didn't actually release the entire line all at once. But there you go, we have finally got it. And it comes in the form of the first tank, the TR580, and you can see it here. It's very much reminiscent of some of the T-54s, the T-55, the T-62A, and all of the vehicles from the Soviet tech tree line, and that is basically what these vehicles are, to be honest with you. And you can see here, very, very reminiscent of what the Soviet medium tanks definitely look like. So effectively, the TR580 entered service in 1982, and it has its name comes from its 580 horsepower engine, so that's how they named it. But what are the characteristics of the vehicle for when we play it in the game? Well, we have been given all of the characteristics in terms of the values of them for when they get released into the game on Tuesday. So first things first, let's look at the one main thing of usually all of the Soviet mediums, and that's the gun depression. Yes, you do get 5 degrees, so it's not particularly great, and that is going to be a little bit of a pain if for anyone that likes fighting on ridge lines, the Soviet medium tanks, and of course this one, the TR580, are going to be in the exact same position. They're not great on fighting on ridge lines, but that's where you get the armour model of the vehicle comparatively. But this drops in at Era 2, so this is escalation, and what this vehicle offers you is speed, manoeuvrability, a little bit of hull armour. You're going to have a pretty meaty gun as well, 440 alpha damage with every single shot that you fire, and of course with fairly okay premium ammunition, although probably on the lower side for the Cold War vehicles, so at Era 2, so it may be a little bit painful, but remember, this is the bottom tier tank in the era, if that makes sense, so it's probably not going to be the best one anyway. But yes, 2.1 second aim time, 0.33 accuracy. It looks okay. It's got damage per minute of 3,300, so you're going to be able to whack out quite a bit of damage. Obviously, that will probably go in the region of about 3,800 with all of the reload perks and any of the equipment that are going to boost up your reload. View range of the vehicle is okay as well, but nothing too spectacular. So in general, I don't think that these are going to be particularly great. The TR580 certainly won't be overpowered, so we'll have to see how it actually fares in the game. And of course, if you're watching this in the future, let me know what you think of the TR580, because it might be completely different to what I'm actually saying right now. You never know. And of course, take it with a pinch of salt. These are only the early characteristics, and of course we will have to try them ourselves to see if it is as the statistics suggest. But once you've gotten past the vehicle that we've just mentioned there, it then goes on to the TR85. And this is starting to look a little bit more like the heavy vehicles that you were getting from the Soviet line as well. So for those of you that know, all of the T-72s, you can see that kind of start of something where the armour starts to taper backwards. You've got this kind of rear end of the tank. It kind of looks a little bit more like that. And it looks like you've got a steeper angle on the frontal hull. The lower plate looks massive on this thing, so I'm expecting that that is going to be gigantic, and it does indeed look like that. However, you do have a lot of spaced armour on the lower plate. You've also got spaced armour on the turret, on the upper plate, and various different areas as well. You've got the heat shield on the side as well. So in general, TR85 actually looks okay. It kind of is reminiscent of both like the T72BU and also the Leopard 1 as well. So you've got kind of this weird hybrid, if that makes sense. So you've got the armor of a Leopard 1, I expect, in the game. So don't go thinking you're going to be in a heavy tank. But yeah, it's kind of like this weird hybrid. It has the looks of a T72 whilst also having that traditional Leopard 1. And yeah, it kind of looks pretty interesting. I'm looking forward to trying this thing out because I think it could be quite interesting, especially with the statistics that it offers. The TR-85 fully upgraded does have very similar statistics. It has slightly increased speed, so effectively you're like a better version of the previous tank that we've just showcased, the 580, and as you'd expect from going up a tier effectively within the era. You do have the same DPM, so the actual main armament of the vehicle is exactly the same, I believe. View range goes up slightly, your top speed goes up, your hull rotation actually goes down, I believe, comparatively to the vehicle before. Yeah, it's not looking too good. But of course, I'm expecting this has slightly better armor, so you may be able to deal with some opponents a little bit easier. But generally, looks pretty okay. I don't think anyone's going to be complaining about these being super broken or anything like that. Now then, leading on to the top tier in the era, and that is the TR-125, and this very much looks like the heavy tank version, and that is because this is the heavy tank version of these Romanian tanks. And you can see here the hull very much looking like a Soviet design, as well as the turret armor as well. So I'm assuming it will play very much like that. Now you see this area here with the engine. I would assume that that is going to be a pretty meaty weak point, and I guess we might be able to see it. I don't know. But here's the armor model. You can see here looking pretty thick on this turret. So I'm assuming that the turret's going to be nigh impenetrable for most people, debatably, but I don't think it's going to be outrageously so, because you do have these cupolas and there's various different like weaker bits of the turret, and as soon as you get out the side you're just going to go right through. There is of course these platey areas that are going to be a little bit of a pain if you hit them because they're spaced armor and it can be a little bit annoying. But other than that, I think this vehicle looks lovely. I'm looking forward to getting my hands on this at some point, and we're going to be starting to go down a few of the Cold War tech tree lines because I'm kind of ending up World War II at this point with how many tanks I have in the garage. But with what we've got here, your speed limit does go down, so you lose about 9 kilometers an hour from the previous vehicle, but of course that was a medium, so you can kind of assume that that would be the case. But with the TR-125, you of course get better armor. You also get more alpha damage. You go from 440 to 550, so it's very nice, along with the penetration increases as well. View range goes down as you'd expect. Damage per minute also goes down, but remember you'll probably bounce a lot more rounds with this thing than the previous two. So yeah, it's a bit of a trade-off. You can see all of these vehicles being okay within the game. I don't think they'll be record-breakingly overpowered or anything like that, but yeah, some interesting stuff, and I'm definitely kind of a thumbs up from me in terms of what these vehicles are going to be like. And of course, Wargaming have released with this the reinforcements challenges from the Romania region, so you've got even more reasons to take the new line out for a spin. So you'll be able to pick up 500,000 silver and some Commander XP boosters and premium time, and effectively what you have to do is destroy one or more vehicle playing in any of them, and you'll get 25% extra silver. If you don't want to play any of these but you are still playing Cold War, you'll also be able to destroy 2 or more vehicles across any number of battles while playing the vehicles themselves. So you can either destroy one of the vehicles that is actually featured, or you can play in the vehicle and destroy 2 or more vehicles that aren't even the ones that you're playing. So yes, it's going to be interesting. And of course, if you are playing the vehicle, one of those 3 vehicles, and you destroy 2 tanks, and one of them was the same vehicle in the tech tree line, then you'll get 50% extra silver. So yes, it's a brilliant time to start playing, because it will just save you some of the silver cost of upgrading the vehicles, because they are going to be expensive. Now then, Not only that, you'll get this operation where you can pick up this 500,000 silver. You just have to destroy 75 or more vehicles whilst playing in any one of the 3 vehicles. They do stack. You don't have to play in one specific. So you could play any of the 3 different tanks, and it's just the combination of how many tanks you've destroyed using any of them. So yeah, it's pretty decent. And of course, the Commander XP boosters are nice. And of course, the silver, the premium time, just whatever it is. But there you go. Those are the new Romanian tanks. But before we move on to any other news for next week, it's time to talk about one of these heads of Wargaming leaving, and it is, of course, the design director. Some are going to be really happy. Some are going to be a little bit disappointed, and some will be heartbroken, potentially. But Chuji, or Jeff Gregg, is going to be leaving, or has left, Wargaming itself. So he is no longer working on World of Tanks console. He's moved on to another place, and he is no longer associated with Wargaming itself. So yes, you guys are going to be seeing a new person taking a step in to Wargaming and to his place, effectively. Because yes, this is the second Wargaming kind of head or high up within the console department, being Pain God and also Chuji, that are now leaving Wargaming. So they've already gone. So yes, it's definitely an interesting thing. He had I did watch the stream, had a little bit of a look where he announced that he was leaving. You can do that as well. I will leave a link in the description below for that video so you can have a look yourself. It's probably easier that you have a look at the actual video and see what you make of it yourselves. But yeah, I will leave my opinions as to what I believe about both of the people out of this video, because it's not really relevant. But there you go. He is left, and so we're going to be seeing some interesting changes potentially with content strategy and overall design of World of Tanks console, maybe. So we'll see how it goes, and of course it'll be an exciting start for whoever takes control and decides to do and take the game in a different direction. So that'll be interesting. Let me know what you think about this whole fiasco and this whole changes that Wargaming staff have actually been making, and yeah, just leave them in the comment section down below. Hopefully that Chuji will have a great time at wherever he decides to actually move on to. I wish him all the best. And I do thank you for actually sticking by World of Tanks console for so long. I think he was there from the inception. So yeah, definitely interesting. So for those of you actually only interested in playing the game and not the controversy outside, well, this is the portion of the video where you can actually have a look at what's coming in the new Tech Tree line, and also some of the extra things this week. And it features one of my favourite events as well, so I'm really looking forward to that. But let's do a quick recap, and it also features some of the stuff that's going to be continuing on to next week in the start of this. So first things first, we have the premium bonus. It's available for another week. We've had it for a week so far, where you could pick up the Panzer 7, the Badger and the T125. All of them have plus 50% XP and silver whilst playing any of the vehicles leading up to those vehicles from tier 5 and upwards. So we're looking forward to seeing you guys pick up some of these vehicles. I myself have already got the T125 and the Badger, and of course the FE215B183 that leads in tandem with the Badger at the same time, so you can unlock actually 4 tier 10s from this, and also the Panzer 7 I need to get. So this is one that I've been working on, and you'll see a video on the tier 9 in this Tech Tree line, the VKB, coming very, very soon, so stay tuned for that. We've also then got the premium contract for the Tiger 1 hammer, so this is continuing. We've got, I think, like 5 or 6 weeks before this is complete, so you just have to basically grind out a ton of XP. That is literally the task with the hammer contract. It's pretty ridiculous, and you can have a look at that full contract details in the previous news video if you wish. But also with that, we've got with honours, so you can place in the top 5 XP earners on your team in a battle to earn 25% extra silver on that battle. And of course, if you were playing on the weekend of release of this video, make sure that you take advantage of the tier 8, 9 and 10 double XP event going on throughout this entire week. It has been already, for those of you that don't know. You can jump in, you can play it. It's massive, and it's going to save you so much time when grinding through. I've been able to take advantage of it whilst grinding towards the King Lerva, which is also 50% more XP, and I've been using ×5 XP boosters. So yes, I've been able to get like 15,000 to 20,000 XP every single game, so it's super quick. Right, so without further ado, let's look at the operations for next week. So there is a Tanks Reforged event, and it's for the Chinese Heavy line. So this comes in the form of Tier 7 all the way up to Tier 10, and this is the WZ-111-5A. And the vehicles feature the Tier 7, which is the 122JT gun, becomes the new top gun to replace D25 to improve the overall grind. So it's effectively they've improved how well it's actually going to play right from the beginning. They've also got the Tier 8, receives a lot of improvements as the main focus for this Reforged, removed the stock gun, improved the remaining guns, and even added a new top gun option. So we'll have full details on what this all is, but effectively you can kind of already get the gist of it. And then there is the new stock gun with better penetration, with both other guns receiving improvements, also sees improved health and reduced dispersion penalties, and this is on the Tier 9. So yes, this is all very good for any of you Chinese heavy tank lines. And there are, of course, 2 Tier 10s, and they are the 113 and the WZ-111 Model 5A. And in fact, the 113 is a tank I have probably not seen in game in the longest time. I genuinely have not seen a 113 being played, and that probably gives you an indication as to whether the vehicle is actually any good. But with all of these buffs and changes that they'll be doing, maybe this thing is actually pretty good now. And it has improved reload, aim time and health, and that's coming next week. Same as the WZ-111 Model 5A, which has had improved reload and accuracy. So this is definitely one of the things I'm looking forward to the most. So, also, if you enjoyed the double XP week this week, next week is the best XP event that you could possibly hope for, and it is String Theory. So if you are a great player at the game, this is even better. If you are a player that's new and you don't know anyone on the game, it's probably not going to help you that much. So probably those of you watching this video, you're a little bit better than the standard player because you have the kind of a choice of actually coming online and watching videos on World of Tanks. So yes, you're probably going to be slightly better than the average new player, which means that you will be able to take advantage of this a little bit more. And that is because String Theory relies upon one key thing, and that is winning multiple games in a row, in a string of games. So if you can get 5 wins in a row, you can get 5 times XP on every single battle that you win after that 5th win, up until the point at which you lose. So if you know a load of people, if you know some absolutely stellar players in World of Tanks, platoon up with them, go round, just be absolute menaces in the matchmaker and win as many games as you can. Now, you should be wanting to do that anyway, but if especially this time, platooning up is going to allow you to grind through some of those tedious tech trees far easier, and especially if you're playing with other players that maybe are playing some better tech trees than the one that you're playing as you're grinding through, that will allow you to just get your win rate up. And this is what it all relies upon. Me, myself, I am usually on my own. I don't really have anyone that plays this game to kind of play with me. So it's just me solo playing around 95% of the time probably. And String Theory is definitely one of my favourites, because when I start racking up a ton of XP, not only with my 5 times XP boosters that I pretty much use on every single tech tree tank I have now, just purely because I have the ability to do that. That's kind of what I'm after. And String Theory as well is going to be one of my best. And then the contract is also available for the Stubbs tank, and this is the mercenary tank. It's like a little weird light tank that has like this derp, I believe. But yeah, I think the Stubbs is actually pretty good if I recall properly. Take that with how you would decide upon which contract you want to go for. There are loads currently available still, so just finish off whatever you're doing and then potentially move on to the Stubbs. Now then, The miscellaneous and shoutouts, you can see quite a few people reaching over 100,000 battles and up to 130,000. There's also a ton of people that have been able to do over 10,000 damage in the T125, the Badger, and the Super M48. So that is pretty amazing, to be honest with you. And before we end up this video, I have a few kind of shout-outs of my own, and that goes to Fat Little Bernie for gifting me the NM116, which I'm really, really happy about. Thank you very much for doing that. And to all of the channel members as well that have been supporting me throughout the last year and a half, and in fact some of you even longer than that. So it's been really, really amazing to see your guys' support. Obviously, all of the donations and everything that you've been giving me throughout the entire time that I've been doing videos really do help me to actually continue doing them, to review all of these tanks. I really do appreciate it, and thank you very, very much for that. And of course, even if you haven't donated anything or you haven't done anything like that, just your viewership is more than enough for me, and it's been amazing as well. So yeah, thank you just everyone. You've gone above and beyond what I expected from this channel, and yeah, we're having a cracking time just making videos and seeing how you guys react. So yeah, thank you very, very much. And before we end up, let's just take one last look of the vehicles that you can pick up. Obviously, these are the new tech tree vehicles when they do eventually load. I don't know why they're taking an age, but you can see here all of the vehicles that are coming to the game. One final look at them, and not only that, there's just a few questions left. So we have heat rounds outside of Era 1 are kind of pointless, so can all the tanks in Era 2 with heat rounds have them change? We could do the data analysis to check this out and adjust accordingly if needed, so potentially heat rounds getting changed maybe. Is it possible to have an option to exclude a map from rotations that we don't like? This is actually coming up internally, but it's a tough one. We do rotate maps in and out a lot instead of letting users individually remove a map from rotation. So this is something that they used to do back in the day. I think that they then removed it at one point, and now they're kind of bringing that back. I think what they said that would happen was that when everyone moved to Xbox One, we'd be able to, or Xbox One / PS4, you know, the new old consoles, where Xbox 360 and that sort of thing did not have the ability to actually play during that. So that's kind of a benefit. But yeah, now they're still having to remove maps from rotation because they are too big, I believe. It was the reason that we were given previously. When can we expect more tech tree tanks for World War II? There will be more coming next year. So there is no new tech tree tanks for World War II this year. It's been confirmed by Wargaming, no new tech tree tanks for World War II. So that's disappointing. And hopefully it will be at the beginning of next year and not like in a year's time. Cold War has 8 times zoom for TDs, but World War II doesn't. Why? Cold War maps are larger and with true vision, that's the reason, obviously. So yeah, that's what it is. Could we get 6th Sense for free and not accrue a skill just like PC? We basically already have that. We have what PC already have, because their 6th Sense is not actually what we have as 6th Sense, because our 6th Sense, comparatively, instantly tells you that you've been spotted. On PC, they have the targeted feature, so basically where someone spots you, it then takes, I believe, like 2 or 3 seconds before you actually know that you're spotted. So that's kind of what we have on console, and yeah, I just don't think that they'll change it, but they'll basically keep it in the back of their minds. Any plans to bring back giftable stage skips? Could look into that. I like the idea of helping each other out. I mean, it's a bonus for anyone that decides to do that. Can we get a silver week in Cold War? No plans for this, but we do have a 25% silver boost ops running, so that's always good. Any new Era 3 premiums? Nothing coming soon. When will the Object 777 be available? It's going to be quite a while. So yeah, nothing really on that. Can we get bots to stop shooting through the smoke? They did address this in a previous update, but if you're still experiencing this, let us know. Yes, everyone is still experiencing this. This is still a problem. I don't know how they don't already know that, but yeah. They always shoot through the smoke. Can we have the opportunity to sell tanks for free XP instead of silver? Free XP is a premium currency, so this is not likely to happen. Yeah, that's kind of interesting. What about the M1 Cat B? Nothing to announce, but maybe something coming in the future. Could you make the 3D pirate say R on the reload? I mean... Oh, God. We could certainly try and push for neat things like this, as we've heard lots of requests like this from the players. This is what players are wanting. God, I'm definitely disconnected from the many. 3D pirates, man. Can you rework the amount of crew XP needed to max out a crew? With all the boosts going on, like season completion, crew boost is actually a lot faster than it used to be to rank up crews. I entirely agree. With the new crew system, you can level up your crew so fast. And maybe I'll actually do a full video on how you can do that. Let me know in the comment section down below if that's something you'll want. And of course, once again, a massive thank you for supporting me throughout my journey on YouTube and just in general World of Tanks. And I hope that you have a great weekend as of the recording of this, or a great day if you're later on in the week. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.